Hi, this is Simon Hague from Where's My Lunch? Wouldn't it be absolutely fantastic if we could actually get everything done that we really want to get done? The stuff that really makes us tick. But let's face it, in the real world right now, we have a lot of pressures that face us, which get in the way of us being able to do that. Or does it? Perhaps we are in that position whereby we're trying to do maybe too much, and doing too much isn't actually helping us or isn't actually useful in what we want to do. Perhaps we are helping people too much. Perhaps we're not looking after ourselves. Perhaps we're actually spending too much time actually caring about others rather than caring for ourselves. So what I'd like to do is just spend the next few minutes just going through a method which we can do to help us rebalance that, to help us get back into control. Now, some people may be thinking this is a bit idealistic, okay, but I like thinking of this as very much a rebasing. It gives us a way of actually identifying some of the things that we want to put back into our life, which is really, really important, which maybe we are not doing enough of. Okay, so what you need for this is very, very simple. It's some sheets of paper. My favourite sheets of paper are post-it notes or sticky notes, if we're being politically correct. And also what I'd like to do is use a big pen. So for me it's just a whiteboard marking. You'll notice I've got a whiteboard behind me which I do a lot of writing on. And what I'd like you to do first of all with this pad or a pad of A4 is just to write down on one thing on each of the sheets, maybe half a dozen things or a dozen things that you absolutely love doing. So you've got maybe half a dozen to a dozen things written down. So I love the... Okay, and I'm deliberately not telling you what I'm writing. Okay, not yet anyway. I'll share with those towards the end of this very, very brief video. But it's really important that you get down the things which are important to you, the things that really do make you motivated. Okay, there's another one there. Okay, and there's another one. And there's another one. I think that's actually a really, really important one for me. Okay, and which yeah, okay, let's put that one down as well. And okay, I think I've probably written down about half a dozen, and that's absolutely fine. So just keep going until you've maybe written down half a dozen to a dozen different things that are really, really important to you. We're not going to dig into these about why these are important, okay? But these are things which you get that real gut feel that you want to do more of these, or that these are an important element to your life, okay? And it's interesting that as you're writing, you may be writing them in a certain order, but that's where you are at this particular moment in time. Don't pay any attention to the order that you're putting it in. And similarly, you may need to add some things into this later on as you're developing. So the second thing I'd then like you to think about is introducing you to a grid. Now on this grid, I've just written it onto an A4 piece of paper here, and you'll see down one side I've got the days of the week, and then perhaps along the top we can put the various different things we absolutely love to do. And it's quite simple, really. What I'd like to get onto this paper is how many times during that day in the past week have I actually done the things that I really, really love to do. Okay, so for example, I've got one of the ones that I've got here is learning. I'm a habitual lifelong learner. I love to read blogs. I love to look at journals and really, really challenge my thinking in different ways of doing things. And then I sort of put them together and come up with some form of other madness associated with the way I think. But that's good. So that is really important to me, the learning aspect of stuff. But how often do I actually manage to get that done? So in one column, I'm just going to head that up as learning. And looking back at my diary over the last week, I can probably highlight the number of times that I've actually maybe done some learning. Okay, so yesterday was the Thursday, and I spent some time in the car, and in the car it's about a 2-hour drive, and I listened to some audio books, which I find a great use of my time when I'm out and about. So I can put in there, okay, so that was 2 hours on Thursday. Now I know earlier in the week, Monday and Tuesday, was fairly heavy with regards to coaching. So I know that with regards to coaching over that period of time, that was a no. Wednesday, actually, I did spend some time doing some reading on the internet and doing some research. So I'm going to put down an hour for that. On Sunday evening as well, I did pick up a journal and have a read of that. So again, that was about an hour. It's about 7 to 8 o'clock. So you can get the picture as to what's actually happening here. I'm actually managing to get a grid of the stuff that I really like to do, the stuff that's really, really important to me. And as we move on, the next one I've got down here, for example, is health. Health is really important to me as well. So to stay healthy, I need to make sure that I've got a couple of things in place. The first thing is my fitness levels, and I do yoga. Now, I know that I did yoga on Monday for an hour, I did it on Tuesday for an hour, I did it on Thursday for an hour. Today is Friday, and I know that later on I'll be doing that as well. In fact, just over an hour and 20 minutes, so I better get on with this vlog, hadn't I? So I know that over that period of time, I've done 4 hours of yoga during the week. Have I eaten healthily during the week? I'm asking myself a question. Actually, we dipped. Beginning of the week, we needed to go shopping. So I need to make a note somewhere that actually shopping on time is something that I need to be looking at to improve, because that would improve the quality of the food that I was eating earlier in the week, which would then make me feel healthier, if you follow my gist. So there was other stuff that I did on the health side, things like these 10,000 steps, although 10,000 is not important. That does enter into this, because this means that you're actually moving around and all that sort of good stuff. There's a few gym sessions in there as well. So that is actually really important, because I want to keep going when I get older, and I think that's very important. The other one I've got in here is family. So family for me is, again, high priority. And I'm just going to write this down here. So how much time have I spent with my family this week? So I know that Monday and Tuesday nights I had one thing on Monday night, and I had nothing on Tuesday night that I'm heavily involved in, and I wasn't around. Wednesday was about, yes, actually we did have some time together on Wednesday, and we also had some time together on Thursday. But that's actually my close family. That's the people I live with here in Solihull, not my kids up in Liverpool, who are at university up there. So there's some stuff that I'm doing, so I'll probably just put a tick on Wednesday and Thursday. But I maybe need to get up to Liverpool and go see my kids. Maybe that's something I need to do. So there's some highlights that are starting to come through. So as you're reaching the end of what you've actually completed on this, and bearing in mind I've got another, I've got outdoors here, and I've got things like fitness, and it's crossover with health there, family and wealth is in there as well. You can complete a complete grid like this and see how that is then mapping across onto your life. And from this, you can say, actually, what can I do? Because these things are important to me. Am I doing enough? It's the Goldilocks effect, isn't it? Am I doing enough? Am I doing too much, or am I doing too little? And when we identify with that, we can say, okay, maybe I'm doing a bit too much. And interestingly, when I wrote down about the health thing, I was looking at the yoga, and I was doing 4 hours a week of yoga plus some of the other fitness stuff that I do. I'm asking myself, actually, that's maybe a bit too much. Maybe I need to rebalance that with some of the other stuff that I do, and maybe some of the walking stuff could take over the yoga. So straight away, what it does is it helps us to actually dig deeper in what we want to do, what is important to us, and what we are doing. And it's very interesting when you start looking at a grid like this about how this actually maps across into your real life, into your work life. So for example, if I look at outdoors, if I look at working, and I think about how those two can coincide, if I like the outdoors and I'm working in a city where perhaps I'm jumping on a tube or a bus, then I have an opportunity to perhaps do some walking. And I remember when I was working in London that I often decided that I would walk across London rather than catch the tube or the bus, and that to me allowed me to walk through some of the amazing parks and just really appreciate the beauty of the early morning prior to the meetings that I was attending. So we need to think about all of that sort of stuff and how we can embed that. So the next thing we need to do is, again, get a list of paper, and we need to be listening to ourselves about what sort of things we need to be doing. So I've already done here the eating thing was quite important for me. So shopping on time, making a note of that. I'm going to make another note on here about yoga. I'm going to put in brackets too much question mark. And what this will do is it'll help me rebalance some of the stuff that's going on. Now, what am I really trying to do here? I'm trying to get back in control. I'm trying to get back in control of some of the things which may have started to disappear out of my life, which I need to make sure they don't. So what we've got here is a model that you can use to try and ensure that the things that are important for you, not important for your boss, not important for your family, but important for you, get done in a way that you want it to get done every week. Okay, I'm going to leave it there for this week, but thank you very much for your time, and I hope you've enjoyed this week's video blog.